Good morning, dreamers. I thought it would be cool to think about what I would do if I only had 10, 50, or $100,000 with everything that I know today. What would be my strategy? So today I'm going to use my favorite estimator tool to show you what I would do in those scenarios. Let's go. Okay, so here we are in my favorite estimator tool. It's inside of TD Ameritrade. And let's start with the $10,000 scenario first. Now, in this scenario, I'm probably strapped for cash and really probably need money coming in every single month. So, what I probably would do is go for ticker symbol O, which is realty income. I would do about 155 shares. So, you put in 155 and you calculate. And boom, there it is, $10,168. That's about $10,000. What that would do is kick off about $38 every single month for me. And it would be completely even throughout the entire year for a total income of $459 and a yield percentage of 4.52. Now, there are other monthly REITs that I like. Stag is one of them, but it's not paying the yield that Realty Income is paying right now. In fact, 4.5 for Realty Income is a pretty good yield for ticker symbol O. So that's it. That could be my entire strategy for $10,000. So that's not bad. I mean, $38 every single month, that might pay one of my bills. If I had a good month and I was able to reinvest that $38, then it would just roll over into the next month and I could continue to build over time. So for me, that's kind of option one if I only had $10,000. Option two, if I only had $10,000, would be really going for yield in a very safe way. So for that, I might do ticker symbol MO, which is Altria, and ticker symbol BCE, which is a Canadian telecom company. And look at that, 100 shares of Altria and 100 shares of BCE nets you right around that 10,000 mark, 10,491. And what that does is it actually raises the yield to 6.2 and kicks off $650 for the year. The only issue with this is that you can see when it pays out. It pays out in April, July, October, and January. So it's not that nice, even payout schedule that just having ticker symbol O would give me. But it raises my average monthly payout to $54. So what kind of bill could I pay for $54 every month? Or $162 a quarter? Well, that might cover my internet bill. That might cover my water bill. So for me, right now, if I only had $10,000, I would either just put it all into O or put it into these two stocks. And the main reason is I'm looking for steady, safe income. Not looking for growth at this point, just looking for cash. Essentially setting up almost like a side hustle, passive income source. Okay, so let's say I've done a little bit better and I've got $50,000 that I can consider. Well, I still would start with MO and BCE as a solid foundation. And to that, I would add O back into the mix. I would add WPC, another REIT, another commercial REIT. I would add some tech in there, maybe IBM. I would add Verizon. That would be another steady payer that I think is maybe set to go up a little bit from here. And then I might diversify a little bit into healthcare with maybe adding AbbVie, which also pays out in a different month, so that helps to even out the flow. So let's make this be 50,000. So maybe I would take IBM down to maybe 70, and I would take AbbVie down to 60 and calculate income. Oh, that takes it down a little bit too low. So maybe I would add back in Verizon and maybe a little bit more of ticker symbol MO. And boom, there we go. $50,059. That's close enough. So what this scenario gives us is a couple of things. It's right at 50,000, and you can see it's paying annually $2,500. And the yield across all is a cool even 5%. So what we've got here is we've got a couple of telecom. We've got Verizon and BCE, but one is US and one is Canadian. So there's some diversification in that. Then we've got two REITs, O and WPC. They are diversified in that one is industrial commercial and the other is more retail commercial. Then we've got IBM for tech. We've got Altria for consumer defense. And then we've got AbbVie for healthcare. So we've got some diversification in there. Now it is paying more in the months of April, $297, July, October, and January, and less in May, June. But it's not a terrible spread across the year. So that's probably what I would do with $50,000. $50,000, average mix of 5%. It's got some good diversification, a nice yield, pretty safe, and it'd be kicking off $2,500 a year. What could I do with that? Well, that could pay for a vacation or two. That could buy me a new laptop. So that is a nice passive income stream to begin with. Okay, so let's move on to the last scenario where I would have $100,000. What would I do? How would I set that up for passive income? Well, it probably doesn't surprise you. I would keep everything that I have on the screen right now. And to it, I would continue to add. So this would be my foundation. And so now I might continue to diversify. So I probably would add a couple of utilities to this list. So I like Southern Company, ticker symbol SO. I like AQN, which is a Canadian utility. Okay. What else would I add? Well, I would add some more healthcare. So let's say I would add probably Pfizer. And then I would add J&J. Not so much for the yield, but for the growth. So now I'm starting to add in some growth dividend stocks as well. I would probably add another SIN stock, and that would be BTI. I would add a couple of financial products, going to BNS, which is Bank of Nova Scotia, a Canadian bank. I would add another financial, Ben, which is a aristocrat. Then I would add at least one oil stock. CVX is my favorite, so I would add them. I would add some consumer staples, maybe Pepsi. That's one that I like. I would also add Procter & Gamble, another fantastic company and dividend aristocrat. Then I would start thinking about adding some growth to this portfolio. So for example, I might add Lowe's, which is a great dividend aristocrat, but growth stock. And then I would add Microsoft, which is a low yield, but high growth. And I would add Apple. Okay. And finally, I might add a chip maker like Avgo. Avgo's nice because it's a high growth, but also a pretty good yield. So I would add Avgo. So now that I've got my mix, you can see how uneven the payout is. And you can also see this yield is 2.87, which is low. And it's coming out to $271,000. So we're going to have to change the quantities here to try to get it into a $100,000 scenario. So let's see. I might do 5 of Avgo and maybe 25 of Apple, maybe 5 of Microsoft. Let's do 15 of Lowe's. Probably do 20 of Procter & Gamble and also 20 of Pepsi. Let's keep Chevron at 100 and see where that nets us. Let's keep these next two at 100 and BTI at 100. Now J&J is really expensive, so let's go 20 shares here, maybe 60 shares of Pfizer. And then we hit calculate. So we're still over by about $13,000. So let's go ahead and take Chevron down. Let's maybe take it down to 50 and calculate income. And it looks like we're still well over. So let's take it down again. 25. And we're still over. So maybe let's take down, say, BNS to 85. Let's see where we net out. Okay. So that gets us close enough. So what we have here is $100,200. It's paying out $4,160. And maybe let's sort by dividend yield. So we've got BTI, 7.28 yield, 100 shares, $4,000. Followed by Altria, 7%, $5,384, 105 shares. So those are the two SIN stocks that we have. Then we go into BCE, which is Canadian, at 5.4, 100 shares, $5,300. We've got WP Carey, a commercial REIT, 5.3 yield, 100 shares. We've got IBM, 5.16 yield, 70 shares. We've got Verizon, 4.88 yield, 125 shares. AQN, Canadian Utility Company, 4.6, 100 shares. We've got ticker symbol O, 4.5, 100 shares. BNS, a Canadian bank, 4.3%, 85 shares. We've got Ben, 4.16, 100 shares. Southern Company, a U.S. utility, 3.85%, 100 shares. AbbVie, a healthcare company, 3.6, 60 shares. Chevron, of oil and gas company, 3.6 at 25 shares. We have Pfizer, 3% at 60 shares. We have Avgo, which is a growth chip maker, 2.7%, 5 shares. We have Pepsi, 2.69. It's a growth stock. Dividend Aristocrat, 20 shares. J&J, 2.43. Also a nice growth dividend safe, 20 shares. Procter & Gamble, same, 2.3, safe. Dividend Aristocrat, 20 shares. And then we have Lowe's, 1.38, 15 shares. Microsoft, 0.84, 5 shares. And Apple, 0.55 at 25 shares. And so what that looks like is a pretty nice looking graph across the year. So the payouts are pretty even across this whole year. And you get a total income of $4,160.48 with a yield of 4.15. So that's a pretty nice passive income stream that also has diversification across industries, across geographies, and at $100,000, I'm now starting to layer in growth stocks. So just think of what a passive income stream like this could do for you. $4,160 every single year. What could that cover? What could that pay for? Perhaps that's even a month of expenses for you. Taking out a month of expenses could be life-changing for a lot of people. I wish I had known this before. Anyway, that's what I would do across $10,000, $50,000, and $100,000. I'm curious what you would do. How would you create the perfect passive income stream? Feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, thanks for watching. As always, I encourage you to do your own research, keep learning, and remember, I'm not a financial advisor, so keep in mind these videos for entertainment and inspiration only. I'll see you on the flip side.